You did it. You actually got through a workout. You pushed when you wanted to quit and you felt good about it, proud even. And then a few hours later, or maybe the next morning, you woke up feeling like you were coming down with something. You were achy, you were exhausted in a way that didn't make sense, the kind of tired that one night of sleep doesn't touch. And guess what? Everyone else around you was completely fine, but you felt like you were getting the flu. When this happens, it can feel like maybe exercise is not right for you or that your body is broken. But a lot of times it can be a sign that your body is sending a certain kind of signal, a signal that has a name and an explanation and a way through it. So let's get into it.
Welcome to Chronic Illness Moms. If you're more than just a tired mom, I'm talking trying to make it through the day without crashing by noon while raising neurodivergent kids, you're not alone. I'm Ashley, a wife, mom, and certified health coach. I have lived with autoimmune disease and flare-ups that made everyday life feel harder than it should. After years of pushing through and burning out, I learned how much stress, poor sleep, and nervous system overload were driving my symptoms. Everything changed when I started building small, realistic habits that actually supported my body instead of fighting it. In this podcast, you'll learn simple habits that help you to feel better. So pop in your earbuds and take a break from the chaos. It's you time.
Friend, I remember being in the middle of a really rough time of managing my own chronic symptoms and then deciding I was going to push through anyway and start a brand new workout program. I had a goal and I showed up and I was really proud of myself until a few hours later, whenever I crashed so hard that I legitimately thought I was getting the flu. And I kept wondering, what is wrong with me? Because I was doing the thing that I was supposed to be doing. That season is actually what led me to build my Feel Better coaching the way that I did. Because the usual approach was not built for a body like mine or like yours. It is a 1-hour call where we do a lifestyle audit together. We figure out 1 or 2 habit gaps that are draining you the most, and then we build one clear, doable next step. This is not an intense protocol. It's not a list of things you have to do. Just one thing that is actually going to move the needle for your body and your life, and also just to help you to start feeling better again. You can learn more and book your call at ashleybraden.com/coaching. Okay, let's talk about exercise. So, like I mentioned earlier, I've had that season, and I feel like a lot of you will probably recognize this. I was just really thick into managing chronic symptoms, lots of fatigue, inflammation. I was really reacting to gluten, like rashes, stomach pain, all the stuff. And there were days whenever it felt like my body was just fighting me. But I had decided I was going to do this very specific workout program. And I had a goal, I had the plan, and I was going to do the thing. And some days it was genuinely hard to get through it, but I did it anyway. I remember finishing and feeling so proud of myself. Like, okay, I didn't want to do it, but I did. I showed up. Yay me. And then later that day, or sometimes it would be the next morning, I would start to feel off. Not really sore, not muscle soreness from working out, but it was something different. I would feel achy. I was foggy. I was completely wiped out in a way that didn't really match what I had done. I would often feel like I was starting to get a fever, but I wasn't running a fever. And I would think, am I getting the flu? Because that is genuinely what it felt like. But everyone else in my house was totally fine. No one else was sick. So what in the world was going on? What I was experiencing has a name. It is called post-exertional malaise. And what that means in plain language is just basically that your body reacted to the exercise with a crash instead of recovery. Not because you did anything wrong, not because you are weak or something like that, but just because your body in that season, it did not have the resources to handle the level of exertion that you were asking from it with that activity. For a long time, I did not actually realize that was happening. I just kept thinking I needed to push through, or there was something going on crazy with my body. And what I actually needed was a completely different approach. And I want to talk to you about that today and walk through what that could look like. Okay, so first let's talk a little bit about what is actually happening in your body when this happens to you. Whenever exercise is triggering that crash instead of recovery, when you feel worse, and I'm not talking sore muscles, that type of thing. That's not what I'm talking about. If you've experienced this, you know what I'm referring to. When you feel worse, though, like 12 to 24 hours after you've been moving your body, not better, then your body could be responding to exercise as a threat rather than a stimulus for you to adapt to. So that is what that post-exertional malaise can mean or really look like. It's just your body crashed after the exercise instead of you recovering. And again, this is not necessarily like an, oh, I overdid it and I'm sore type of thing. Soreness is completely different. This is that flu-like feeling, brain fog that hits the next day, the exhaustion that doesn't improve with rest. And a lot of times it can be your body's immune system and nervous system sending up a flare. So in a body where you are chronically ill, you're already managing inflammation. A lot of times you might have autoimmune stuff going on, maybe hormonal imbalance. Your nervous system could be dysregulated. And exercise doesn't always get processed as really positive because it is stress on the body. Healthy bodies that are used to this exercise signal, they adapt and they get stronger over time. But when your system is already running really on empty, that same exercise can signal and really tip the body more into that fight or flight, into an alarm response. So your immune system could activate, and that is your nervous system reading the exercise as a threat. So I want you to start paying attention to how do you feel 12 to 24 hours after you exercise. Again, it's not necessarily right after. It could be like the next morning. If you are consistently feeling worse 12 to 24 hours after a certain type or a certain length of exercise, that could be an indicator that your body is telling you, hey, this is something that we are not managing or handling well. So I do think that you have to think about it this way. Everyone, think of energy as like if you have a budget for energy. Your body just probably has a different budget for how it can spend energy. So your body is running daily on energy. We'll call it the energy budget. And for most people, that budget is large enough to exercise, to handle the kids, sleep, still come out feeling fine. But when you are managing chronic symptoms, chronic illness, the budget you have, the energy budget you have is a lot smaller. And so exercise doesn't just spend what it would in a regular budget, it can actually overdraw the budget. So this is why you might do a workout that would be totally fine for someone else and it just completely knocks you out. It is not that the workout was too hard objectively. It's just that your body did not have enough in the budget or enough resources to spend on that activity right now. And I want to say something really important. The goal here is not to push until the budget expands. If your body is already depleted, pushing to build capacity, really the way that like traditional fitness advice tells you to do, can actually shrink your budget over time because every crash that you have is requiring recovery. And if you're crashing regularly, then you are spending more time in that deficit than you are rebuilding. And so sometimes we just have to approach things a little bit differently. So instead of asking yourself, how much can I push today? Start asking yourself, what can I do today that keeps me inside of this energy budget that I have? That is not you like taking the easy way out or anything like that. It's just you working around and being realistic about the state that your body is in at this current time. Okay, so there are certain categories of movement that support a depleted body instead of taxing it or stressing it even further. Things like walking or gentle stretching, a vibration plate. This is something I love as well because it gets that the lymph fluid moving without me really having to do a whole lot. I do sometimes do like squats and different exercises on my vibration plate, but you don't have to. But really think about short, gentle, rhythmic movements that send safety signals to your nervous system, not this intense, high-intensity movement that is going to trigger that alarm. So the reason why this kind of movement it really does matter for you and for your body is first and foremost, like I mentioned earlier, it can get that lymph fluid circulating without spiking cortisol by doing a really, really intense activity, because again, your body is reading that intense activity as stress, which does spike your cortisol. The other thing is that most of these types of movements do support nervous system regulation instead of, again, stressing it out, taking it the opposite direction. And it is, you are still moving your body and taking care of yourself without putting yourself essentially into your energy budget overdraft. So that's another way to look at it. And what this could look like for you. Of course, again, we're always learning more about our own unique body and paying attention to how you respond to specific activities, to specific duration, all of those things. And then also keep in mind, as you move more towards healing your body and really working on improving your health, it could be that those activities and the exercises that you can tolerate change over time as well. So really, just instead of doing this really intense workout, what if you tried instead a 10-minute walk outside? Would be even better. I love walking outside, but I also have a walking pad. Maybe you do 5 minutes of gentle stretching. Stretching is something, I've mentioned this before. We all do it in my house. My kids and I, we love it. Or what if you do 10 minutes on a vibration plate if you have it? Just notice how your body responds after that, especially into the next morning. And then let that signal, that message that your body is giving you based off of how you feel, based off of your symptoms, really help you to understand what your body does and doesn't need at the time. Okay, so we know that exercise crashing your body is not this problem. Like, it's not a problem with you. It's just that it's a picture of the state that your body is in right now. It's a very real response. It's something that you don't have control over. Your body is crashing because you exerted it, and instead of it recovering, it didn't have enough resources to do that and to really process that as a positive thing. So instead, it crashed, and that energy budget that you have, it got smaller because you're managing chronic illness and you're pushing past it. And that can a lot of times create that crash. So the shift is not that we don't need to move. It really is just finding the right kind of movement. Something that is not going to put you into that fight or flight state. Something that is not going to, again, look at and really guide and let your symptoms guide you. Let how you feel guide you. Looking for your specific body and what is going on with you. And that is the goal is to still move your body, but do it in a way that is going to support it instead of taxing it. Especially if you are in a state right now where your body is really struggling, we don't want to tax it even further. Okay, so for the week, again, try one gentle movement swap instead and focus on that. Walking, stretching, resting on purpose. Maybe it's doing the vibration plate, whatever that is, and then just see how you feel the next morning compared to a time when you do a different type of activity or exercise. And then, if figuring out what movement actually works for your specific body has felt really, really hard and you're not really sure how to sort through how you're feeling after you exercise, and I would love to talk through that with you on a coaching call. You can go to ashleybraden.com/coaching to learn more. Okay. I also would love if you would come tell us in the free Facebook community what your gentle movement looks like right now. If there's something you really love doing, or if you try it out and how it goes for you. I am sure that you guys have some really awesome, fun ideas of how you can get in gentle movement. So I will share the link for the Facebook group down in the show notes below. And that is all for this episode. I'll see you guys back next time.
Hey friend, I hope you found today's episode helpful. If you did, would you take a minute to share it with another mom who's struggling with chronic symptoms? And leave a review on Apple Podcasts. It means the world to me to know this podcast is making a difference for you. All right, it's time for me to go tackle those snack requests, and remember that a short walk, even if the kids turn it into a race, still counts as self-care. Keep chasing those little wins. Even when it feels messy, you're making progress. The information shared in this podcast is for educational and informational purposes only and is not a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always consult your healthcare provider before making any changes to your health routine. I'm not a doctor, and this podcast is not intended to treat or diagnose any condition. You're the expert on your body. Listen to it and reach out to a trusted provider for support.